This is a combination of my two favorite types of bicycle, the fixed gear and the folding bike. Originally a budget 6-speed folding bike, which I bought back in 2021 for short commutes, given that public transport wasn't really available during the lockdown. It's cheap, small, and heavy. Even comes with suspension, which makes riding it a lot comfy. A year later, when I got my trifold, it got ignored and collected dust in the garage. Eventually, I decided to butcher it and turn it into a fixed gear. Here are the current specs. It's a steel bike from a manufacturer named XIX. I think it's local to the Philippines, but I'm not entirely sure. The wheels are 16-inch 305 wheels. It has a threaded rear hub. It has a budget 110mm square taper bottom bracket bought online. 170mm crankset with 47-tooth chainring from Light Pro. It has a 12-tooth fixed cog secured using thread locker and a bottom bracket lock ring, which is commonly known as a suicide hub. KMC S1 single speed chain. A budget front brake with Zito brake lever, all bought online. Originally, it had its own original handlebars, but I was able to fit a regular bike stem using a 28.6mm seat post. Now the bike fits me better using regular cockpit parts. Currently, it has a Uno 400mm flared compact drop bar on a 60mm Uno stem, but sometimes I switch it up with a flat bar. Light Pro A61 31.8mm by 580mm alloy seat post. The saddle is just some saddle that came from a different bike. And lastly, the tires are the cheap Leo tire. It's a 16 by 1.75 or a 47-305 tire. I went with cheap tires because, it's kidding. You would think riding a bike this small would be a different experience. Well, not really. It handles just like any regular bike except that it's a bit twitchy and a lot more bumpy on bad roads due to the smaller wheels. Another thing I noticed is that it's a lot easier to stop using skids, which explains why the tires that I have on right now are due for replacing. And given that it is a small bike, it has a smaller footprint, which is not entirely bad nor good. Let me explain. A smaller footprint might mean lesser visibility, meaning you have to be more mindful of blind spots when riding with cars and trucks, which you should be with any kind of bike anyway. Also, having a smaller anything on the road makes you susceptible to bullying on the road, which is also a normal thing in many car-infested cities anyway. However, the small wheels make it a lot easier to maneuver in tight traffic. It is less intimidating to pedestrians, and when traffic is too much, you can just walk the bike on the sidewalk without pissing people off. Probably the best thing that I like about this bike is that it folds. It makes it very handy during not so ideal situations like when it rains or flats. I mean, you can simply just load it up on a taxi or in public transport. So if you've got an old folding bike collecting dust in your house, here's something you can do to it for fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.
They're fast company, so if you want to be a cowboy, then you gotta ride tenderfoot ride.